Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is the card that I'm making today. It is a Halloween flip card. And there's all sorts of spooky fun going on, so if you stick with me, I will show you how I made it. I'm going to start by sponging up some pieces of Whisper White card, and this piece is going to form the layer that goes onto my pumpkin pie base, and this is 5.5 inches by 7 inches, and this other piece is just a good size scrap that I had around, because this piece is going to be what I do some of my cutting out from. So I'm going to start with my lightest colour, which is So Saffron, and I have my sponge. And I'm holding it in a binder clip today in an attempt to try and keep my fingers a little bit cleaner. Now, I'm going to, this one I just need a couple of areas of So Saffron, just for now. I may come back later and put some other colours on if I decide that I want something else going on. But that will do for now. And for my base, my layer base here, I'm just going to run a band of So Saffron just across the middle here. Okay, so I'm finished with the So Saffron. So now I'm going to try with the pumpkin pie. Next is rich raspberry, and I'm just going to wipe my fingers, which as you can see has already gotten into the act, but I'm not worrying too much about it because that bit's going to be covered up anyway, and even if it wasn't, it's a happy accident. So I'm going to start the rich raspberry off onto my blending mat, and I'm going to bring it in. And finally, just a very small amount of Perfect Plum. Right, I think that's the effect that I want. So now I'm going to go and let that dry while I clean up. I have here a piece of pumpkin pie, which is 9.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I'm going to score it at the halfway mark, which is 4 3/4 of an inch. And I'm also going to mark it at 2 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to flip it over and mark it again at 2 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to put this away just for a little while. Got a pencil and a ruler, and I'm just going to join up, if I can see them, here they are. I'm just going to join up those two marks with a line. I'm going to split my background piece into two now, so I'm going to cut off a piece at 2.5 inches. Okay, so that is going to go onto the front of my card, and that is going to be the background piece. And now I'm going to do some stamping, and I'm using this stamp set throughout. It's called Spooky Fun, and it's got lots of lovely Halloweeny type images on it. And I'm going to start with that little small piece that I sponged with the So Saffron, and this time I'm using crushed curry, and I've got this stamp which looks like the moon, and I'm going to stamp it twice because I'm going to need two images. So I'm going to go one, and again it's photopolymer, so I've got my mat underneath and I'm holding it down, giving it a lot of time for the ink to transfer off the stamp, which it has done beautifully. And again over here. I'll put that on one side because I don't need that right this second. So with my background pieces, now this part here is going to be covered up. So I'm going to concentrate my my stamping up in this part here, and I'm using basic black, and I've got the witch silhouette stamp, and I've got the two little bats. These two bats, this one here and this one here, they didn't quite stamp properly, and you know, because of what it is and where it is, I could just leave them as they are, but just for the sake of completeness, I've got a black liner pen here, and because this is a nice silhouette-y outline, you know, it isn't anything too fancy, I'm just going to go in with my black pen, and I'm just going to fill those in. Now, I would use a basic black marker, but for some reason I don't seem to have one. So again, that's coming in my next order, but for now, that will do. Here's my piece of pumpkin pie that I already scored, and where I made the two little marks, I've made a pencil line joining them up because this is going to be the flip section of the card, and I'm going to be using my layering circles framelets, so I shall be coming to those in a second. And I have the piece of Whisper White that I've sponged and stamped. Now this is going to go onto the front of the card, and I've put just a tiny little bit of snail on the back there, and I've gone all over it with my fingers, and I've deliberately put it around about there because that bit is going to be cut out, and I have discovered that because the pressure from the Big Shot is so great, it can even make low tack adhesive into high tack adhesive because the pressure just squashes things together so firmly, and I don't want it. I don't want it to do that for me. Okay, so which framelit am I going to use? So I'm going to cut that bat off in its prime. Never mind. Okay. So I have that there. This is the one I think I'm going to use. All right, now before I run that through the Big Shot, I will stick it down with some low tack tape, which appears to have gone walkies for me at the moment, but I will use it. I just want to show you before I take this over to the Big Shot. So I have my magnetic platform and my cutting plate, which to be honest has seen better days. Okay, now which way around am I going to do this? This way, I think. So I'm lining up my circle die with the line, my penciled line, and my top plate, which is what will create the pressure and will make that actually cut. I'm only putting that up as far as that pencil line. Do you see? So when it runs through the Big Shot, this bit will cut, but not this bit. So I'm going to go away and do that, and I will be back in just a moment. Here it is. So if I take this away, that piece will now come away, and that piece, I don't care if it sticks because that bit in the middle is going to be cut away, and in fact it did, but I'm not bothered about that. Okay, so for the inner frame, this was the largest, I think, of the circle framelets. So I'm not going to take the next size down. I'm going to take the size below that. And it's going to be same thing again. I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to go and run that through the Big Shot, and I will be back in a second. There it is. And this time I just ran it straight through as I normally would. Didn't worry about fancy placement of cutting pads or anything like that. Okay, so now I just want to finish off that fold. So I've got my Stampin' trimmer here. I could have used my my Stampin' score, but I happen to have this handy because I've been chopping off the front of the card, and that will now turn into a nice flip card. Here's my card base with the sponge background now stuck in place, and I just used wet glue for this because it was what I had handy. Snail would work absolutely fine. While I was at the Big Shot cutting out this piece here, I also cut out this, which is a frame made using the same size dies as the pumpkin pie, and I filled it with a circle of acetate, which is the same size, and that is going to go onto the front of my card, but it's going to go on this side. So I'm going to turn this way around, and I stuck this down originally with wet glue, but that takes a little bit of time to dry, so I'm going to be brave and I'm going to use glue dots. And I've nearly come to the end of this roll of glue dots, but I have a new one waiting in the wings. So actually I'm probably better off applying the glue dots to the acetated piece, and I'm sticking them to the back, not the front, because that is a very easy way to give yourself a bad morning and have to do it all over again. And how do you think I know that? There was language. Okay, so I'm being quite generous with the old glue dots here. Where are they? And I've got some left on this reel. There they are. There it is. And I'm definitely going to finish this roll off this morning. Here we go. Alright, now I'm going to slide this in, and I'm not putting any pressure on anything until everything is lined up the way I want it. Now, time to add some more fun embellishments to my card now, and here are my moons that I stamped onto the So Saffron card, the card that we sponged with the So Saffron. And if I wanted to cover my witch, and yes, I know that's astronomically unsound because the witch would not be flying behind the moon, but this isn't real life. Okay, so let's put it with my craters facing that way, and then when I open it up, I've got its companion here, which I didn't die cut out so well, but not to worry, because we can sort that out. We'll put some bats on it in a minute. Okay. So I'm going to keep the craters going in the same sort of direction. There we go. Now when I close the card, the witch is covered up, but when I open it, there she is. Right. And I'm just going to play with adding more embellishments, and I will probably speed this bit up, and you can, and I'll come back to you in a little while. Okay, I've taken a bit of time and I've done some decoration here. Okay, I've taken a bit of time and I've decorated up the card, and I think I'm almost finished with it. I just want to stop and say a couple of things before I finally finish it. One is I've had way too much fun with this set of stamps, and I've also been quite busy with the companion edgelets. This is where I've cut out my bats and my pumpkins and my spooky tree, and most of everything else that you can see there actually. Where I've put like the bats that you can see from both sides, I have done them in pairs. So there's one stuck on that side and then there's another one stuck on that side, so that you can't see the glue dots and the adhesive. And I have put a little bit of wet glue in the under the wings there to make sure that they don't move around too much. What else? That I coloured in with my markers in Smoky Slate and Basic Grey, and I also cut these out of, I coloured Whisper White paper, and I just went round the outline where there's where there's a bit of a border around them. I went round that with the basic grey marker as well. But it's the ghosts I really want to talk about, because there's no die for the ghosts. You just stamp them on card and or paper, and there they are. But I wanted my ghosts to be a little bit transparent. I wanted them to look quite ghostly. So what I have done, let me bring this in, I've stamped them onto vellum, and yes, I know it doesn't look like vellum at the moment, because I've also stuck them down onto some double-sided adhesive sheet, and I'm just fussy cutting them out. I've almost finished fussy cutting. Okay, and it doesn't matter if they've got a bit of a, you know, a bit of an edge around them, because at the end of the day they're ghosts, and they're sort of, I think that makes them look like they're glowing in the dark. That's my story, and I am sticking to it. Okay, so just finish cutting out my ghosts, and I can decide where I want them. So I've got 3 over this side, so I'll have 3 over this side. And can you see on the inside here, I've stamped some spiders, a spider and some spider web. Gotta have a spider. Okay, so I'm removing the backing, and I got, this is just double-sided adhesive sheet, which I got from I think I probably got it from eBay, which is where most of my non-Stampin' Up stuff seems to come from. It's basically a large sheet of double-sided tape. So there's a ghost popping up there, and come on, you know you want to. There you go. Let's get the backing off. So the hardest part of the whole rigmarole. Where should we have this one? Shall we have this one popping out of the graves here? That looks nice and spooky. And there, and I'm just burnishing it down with the edge of my piercing tool. So there he is. He's looking nice and suitably spooky. And the last one. So I've just got, you know, 3 on this side and 3 on that side, but of course you can have as many spooks as you want to, whatever makes you happy. So we shall have this one. Right, now I don't want the 2 the same. Seem to have gone for a pattern there. Oh well, never mind. They were twins. And just burnishing it down so that you can just see the colour underneath coming through. And there we have some nicely spooky ghosts. Okay, so we're almost done. I can just see the back of the pumpkins here, and I don't like that. I want them covered up. So I die cut out another piece out of pumpkin pie, and I'm working on the back of the die cut. That's the bit that was where the die pushed into it. This is the other side, and I've just stamped the word eek from the Spooky Fun set, and I'm going to stick this down with my fuse. That'll do nicely. So light touch with the fuse and away. Oh, I don't know what's happening there. It's picked up something nasty, but never mind. So I'm just lining this up just so that I cover over that background there, so that when we turn that over we can see that it's nice and neat. And finally I have stamped Happy Halloween onto this scrap of rich raspberry, and I've got my my banner punch here, and I'm just lining this up carefully. Now if I am very careful, I can get the H of Happy Halloween and the exclamation mark at the end so that they're nice and even. And I'm taking a little bit of time, and when I think I've got it where I want it, I'm just applying a little bit of pressure onto the punch. Not too much, just a little bit, just to hold it. And I think that's about right. So now I'm going to punch that out. And I've done the same with the trick or treat message, and now I'm going to put these onto the front of my card. So again, I'm using the glue dots, and I'm going to put one on that end of the banner. Apparently I'm going to put it on my thumb. I'm going to try that again. Glue dots hate me. I don't know why. I mean, it's not as though I've ever done anything to them. Okay, so glue dots, and place this carefully on the front of my card. Let's raise it up a bit so that it's sort of framing the headstones there. And because we've got one on the front, we need one on the back. So we'll do the same with the banner that reads a trick or treat. And there it is. So there's the finished card, and I did go a little bit crazy with the stamps and dies, but you know what, it's only Halloween once a year, and let's have some fun. And I thoroughly enjoyed making it, and I hope that you enjoyed watching me make it as well. Now if you want the measurements for the card, then I will be putting them on my blog, and if you visit the more information box below, then you can find a direct link to my blog, and there's also a link to my Facebook page and to my Stampin' Up store, where you can go if you want to get the supplies that I used to make this card. If you've really enjoyed watching this, then please do subscribe to my channel, because I will be posting more videos very, very soon. But for now, thank you very, very much for joining me, and I hope that I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.